In this lecture, we're going to look at some essay writing tips for English 110, and I'm going to walk you through some of my suggestions for helping you in writing your papers for English 110. So we're going to walk through what are the qualities of a good paper. I'm going to talk a little bit about paragraph writing and how to structure a formal essay. We're going to look at a couple of examples from student papers, and then I'm going to get us to look through the library and how to find articles that you might add to your paper. And then we'll talk about adding quotations into your essays. But first, I want to draw your attention to a resource on the English department homepage. I've set up a link here to the University of Regina English Department style sheet. And you can find this style sheet on the English Department homepage. So once you're on the homepage, you can click on the style sheet and it should open up to the guide of what your essay should look like. So once you click on the link, you should get the style sheet pop up on your page. And just scroll through it in your own time. You can read it more carefully, but the style sheet gives you all the information you need for what your paper should look like. So we have table of contents here, visual formats, avoiding plagiarism, information on how to add quotations, MLA style, so all papers written for the Department of English should be written in MLA style, and it will give you good information for what your paper should include. So basically, here you just need to know, standard paper size. Title pages, I don't require title pages, so unless your instructor tells you to submit one, you don't need to. So I don't need you to include a title page with your essays for this class. Instead, just write your name, the section of the class, the instructor's name, and the date in the upper left corner of your first page. And then you're going to have your title of your essay, and then start writing all on the same page. And your title, your essay should have its own title, so include your own name your paper, so include the information that I need. Margins, spacing, double spaced please for your writing. Makes it easier for me to add comments. Paragraphs, so this is just a matter of making sure your writing processor is set right, but there's no extra spaces needed between paragraphs. You indent each paragraph. I just use the tab button usually. Page number should be included, so top right hand corner. And you don't need to have any other information than just the number of the page. Titles of books and titles of articles, so this is kind of important. So make sure you're using the right formatting for whatever genre of work. So if you have a book or a longer piece, including films, television programs, the names of journals, magazines, and newspapers, those titles should be underlined or italicized. If you have a shorter work, such as a poem, a short story, the title of an article, it should be placed in quotation marks. Your own title, so your essay should have its own title that's separate or different from the primary text that you're talking about. And you can be a little creative here with your title, so and it can be informative, it can be clever, it can be interesting. it's my first impression of your writing. So make your impression through your title. It's always good to sort of use your title as kind of hook or interest for your reader. So you can include, you know, what it's about, the name of the author, and incorporate the title of the work that you're studying. So if you're talking about, um, you know, uh, Miss Brill, you want to include the author's name, the title of the short story, and then what your essay is going to be about. So you're giving information about not only the short story, but what your take or your essay is going to be arguing. All right, other information. So here you can use present tense. So this is something that students often sort of don't do or forget to do, but you should be talking about the events of a piece of text as if they are happening. So everything should be written in present tense. And this is only a problem if you, so it can be slightly confusing when the text that you're writing about is in past tense. However, you can alter the quote using square brackets if you need to change the tense. And alter the quotation to fit in your sentence and follow your sentence structure. So by present tense, you're referring to, you know, changing the verb so that it reflects the present. So you would say the death of Frankenstein's monster reconciles the central images of fire and ice. You wouldn't say the death of Frankenstein's monster reconciled. Reconciled is past tense. Reconciles is present tense. So it's just a matter of writing as if things are happening in the present. If you want to highlight any single word, you can place it in quotation marks. So you're just highlighting. Other things, avoid contractions. This is just formal writing conventions. So if you're writing a formal essay, you should write out cannot, C-A-N-N-O-T, instead of writing the abbreviated form or the contracted form. Other things, punctuation, place periods and commas inside quotation marks, use apostrophes to indicate possession. Do not use an apostrophe to refer to decades. So 1960s, there's no apostrophe, or write out the word is fine as well. For quotations, you can read through this more closely. We're going to talk about it a little bit more in more detail in a minute, but if you wanted to change something in or clarify a part of a quotation, you can include that information in square brackets. And it's always a good idea to add the name of the author or whoever you are quoting. This is called a signal phrase. So Frank Davy argues that that's a signal phrase. So announcing who wrote the quotation or who the speaker is, the context in which it's being spoken. And it's a good sort of strategy to, if you include a quotation in your paper, to make sure that your discussion of that quotation is at least double the amount of lines as the quotation itself. So if I had a short quotation of one line, I should at least explain what that quotation signifies in 2 more lines following that. So just to make sure that we're not cutting and pasting our essays and relying too much on secondary sources. It's your job as the essay writer to include quotations, but then explain them. So why is this quotation significant? How does it reinforce your thesis statement, your argument? So it's not enough to just sort of plop in the quotation you should explain it in your own words as well. There's a couple of examples here about introducing quotations. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, so we don't have to go through them right now. Block quotations, so if you have more than 4 lines, you can set off the quotations as a block, so you would indent the full passage. So here's an example right here. So if you have a long paragraph that you want to include in your essay, so you would write, Achebe is especially emphatic in his condemnation of Heart of Darkness, and then you're quoting Achebe here, so you want to indent the full passage. And because it's all indented, you don't need to include the quotation marks, but at the end you do include the name of the essay, where you got the quotation, and the page number. So for MLA style, you would include the page number. For your very first citation, you should include the author's name. So it should indicate who the original author is. So other than that, I'll talk about quotations in a little bit more detail, but let's move on for now. So the quality of good essay writing needs to have a few things, and that I look for. The first thing is, if you have a strong essay, it's going to be strong because you have a good central argument. This would be called your thesis statement. So in your introductory paragraph, you're asserting a strong opinion or a strong idea, and the rest of the paper is going to prove your argument and persuasively convey your main idea. So strong central idea or argument, very important. We also look for a nicely organized or structured essay. So do you have a strong introductory paragraph? Are your body paragraphs also well developed? Do you have a concluding paragraph? So all of this essay structure should be coherent, it should flow, and I should see the sort of foundation of a solid argument moving from point to point, and I should understand the flow of your essay paragraphs. You should have some indication or some originality in your writing. So it's kind of hard with essay writing to make it unique or original or find your own voice as a writer, but there are ways that you can sort of inject some personality. One way is through your title. Another way is to sort of take a unique spin or try to be more original in your thinking. Don't argue the same obvious kinds of essay topics. So try to find an original twist, or do your research on a topic and try to add a spin or unique take on a topic of your choice. You should consider the audience. In this case, I'm going to be your audience. So you're writing to somebody who has read the books and watched the film already. So you don't have to give me an overview of the plot of what happens, right? So I don't need a lot of plot summary, having read the book before. And you should be writing for an academic audience. So your audience isn't the same as an audience who reads the newspaper. I want more insight, more interpretation. Can you look at the text at a deeper level? This is an English class, so we like when you pay attention to the details of a text. Look at the word choice, look at metaphors, look at symbolism. So use the kind of discursive tools that English students like to use when writing your paper.